Except for a lawyer Paul Odom Archery Akasa any day, Alpha a LGBTQ plus, and one sense much as a tier for a bad that is a tier for the Gusu Ebro, like saying engine too much as it's a hard as a tier for in say a jail to move. The Nina more such as say, eh, Nanado na ho ade kɔhyɛ foreign affairs mu nti na amasa no ma we ni na yɛre ɛti ma baga na mema sɛ wɔsɛ agye sa LGBTQ plus ne ɛtu kyɛ sɛ we ni ɛba mbɛma na wɔyɛ famoto na kyɛ sɛ beautiful things ne kɔyɛ mu sa tefo ɛna kyɛ sɛ de we ni na yɛre aba my god ho na we de men kasa bi no ya akɔgye nkyerɛmu ni na yɛre afiri ɔdu ma ban tɛsɛ sɛ bɛtena sɛ bɛgye brɛ ne akɔhwehye nsɛm ni na ayɛ tato tv bɛsɛ sɛ bɛsɛ sɛ ba like na bɛhyɛ video we ɛmu bɛnya bi ahwɛ we are not on sɛ mi adɔma na ɛda so sɛ bɛyɛ de nsɛm bɛyɛ de ɛbɛto gya bɛnya bi ahwɛ yɛn kɔmbrɛ sia bɛde bi aso nya brɛ ahwɛ
the priest a free the Roman Catholic ehyia hypercope no ɛna ɔmo to question man say LGBTQ+ ɛhonsɛm na ɛhɔ ɛna ɔba bɛkyerɛ mu say sa bill no say no ewu na ye kaima fast forward some George I'm making that comment say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Kennedy Akunya so and Camera bill ne ba prekopeno and Kobesan say onu netiso na bill no so aye ready dia ene edie enisikan ensuo nie edie nesuma subo ho kwan na eno na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ohwedin na satiefo so ti nsem na okana you turn abam na okano o say omo champion that bill. Meanwhile, when him say, Honorable Son George, on the leader and the gang leader, any other group, that private member bill no echo parliament. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama say, dear Druni dear, this is a consultation bill. I think all Cassan or the bill say, na say, and can school crown, a church roman can win here say, every sign bill, a tear for, he said, the enyaji. Na minim se enche kura Sam George and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and ya ombeji say ta mewa Sam George is ye babe appointed as minister na one His Excellency John Dramani Mahama asem kesi ya bisi enyo no go haruna idrusu so one of them omo champion ye the case ni ye case bobo ha enye asem ketwa na we ena Kofi Buache Kofi Buache so onsem eba ye ka Kofi Buache a police panyini pa a ko retirement retire Kofi Buache ne onsem dampare ene yewura Paul Adomo Chelsea Kofi Buache bura o hye dampare no ama yewura a ye friend say Reverend Prophet Osubempa ono na ye commentator na ono na ehihye ekiri na edie ne bisi bibi ABC yanko ningotie ensema lawyer Paul Armochiri etenase odotu gwanbi emrasisia.
And it's assumed that that's what they went to do, to wish him well. I think they spoke about other things, but the LGBT matter became critical. So where is the LGBT matter? I had an argument with somebody on the phone yesterday about whether the bill has died or not. Now the rule is that when a bill goes to Parliament and it is not successfully passed, that bill dies with the Parliament. Two Supreme Court rulings, J.H. Mensah and the Attorney General, and the recent Richard Sky matter, both emphasize the position of things happening in a particular parliament. The parliament expires. It expires with everything that was happening. So the argument was this: has the LGBT bill that was passed by Parliament waiting to receive presidential assent from President Akufo-Addo, is it a dead bill? Has the bill died such that it must start all over again? When they say a bill is dead, what the MPs mean is that the bill must start all over again. What is all over again? All over again is that write out the bill again, come back to Parliament with it, read it for the first time. Parliament will take notice of it, send it to its committee. It will be read. The committee will deal with it, make some changes. It will be read for the second time before the whole Parliament. The changes will be announced to the Parliament. The Parliament will debate the changes. The whole Parliament will debate the changes. And then it will be read a third time. After it's read a third time, the Speaker will put the question. And so they pass it or it fails. If it passes, it goes for presidential assent. Now, if a bill is at the second stage, maybe it's before the committee, they are looking at it. And then the life of the Parliament ends as the 8th Parliament ended on 6th January, that bill and everything Parliament is doing also collapses. So that's the background. Now, let's get to the details. Okay, so recorder, this is where you record me from. The first one is just the background. Now, let's get to the details. So, in meeting the clergy this morning, President John Dramani Mahama did not quite say where his position is on the LGBT matter. He appeared to suggest that the way things are, the bill must start again. He said that he was not sure what the promoters of the bill wants to do. The promoter of the bill is Sam George. We know that already. Sam George is the promoter of the bill. He's a principal promoter of the bill. But suffice it to say that this was a bill that was passed by all of Parliament. Suffice it to say. But Sam George is the principal promoter in the bill. You've seen the video that we showed. Sam George had said before that President Akufo-Addo must sign the bill. And then he said also that if it was President John Dramani Mahama, he would sign the bill. He also said further that if President John Dramani Mahama gets the opportunity and does not sign the bill, he would have his Sam George to deal with. First, let's hear President John Dramani Mahama speaking to the clergy this morning about the status quo, the state of affairs of the LGBT bill, the family values, however we call it. I call it the Moses Fuamweni bill. Some people call it the Sam George bill, but we know what we are talking about. So this is what President Mahama said about it today.
The proper human sexuality, it's quite a long name. Proper family values bill. If you remember, there was a court case that injuncted the speaker from forwarding it to the president, and also restrained the president from receiving the bill. Eventually that case was disposed of in December, I think on the 18th or so. Yeah, so it meant that the injunction had been cleared. But as far as I know, the bill did not get to the president for assent. And so the convention is that all bills that are not assented to before the expiration of the life of Parliament expire. And so that bill effectively is dead, it has expired. I don't know what the promoters of the bill intend to do, but I do think that we should have a conversation on it again, so that all of us, if we decide to move that bill forward, move it forward with a consensus. And probably it shouldn't be a private member's bill, it probably should be a government bill with governments behind it after consultation with all the stakeholders to see how we're able to move this forward. But it leads us back to the discussion we had, that if we're teaching our values in school, we won't need to pass a bill to enforce, our family values. And that's why I think more than even the family values bill is us agreeing on a curriculum that inculcates these values into our children as they're growing up, so that we don't need to legislate it. And so we'll see how all this goes. And so I'm looking forward to this review conference, so that we can come to some consensus on some of these issues. But I wish to thank you very much for the thoughts that you have expressed.
To the clergy earlier today. So we went back into the archives and then played a Sam George video, which is old, juxtapose it against what President Mahama said. And we're going to leave you to send us the text messages to tell us what you think. They'll sign it. At some point, he didn't want the service of the bill to be given to him. The Supreme Court has something to say about it. Eventually, they said President Akufo-Addo can't sign it, but the exigencies of the time from 3rd January to 7th January, his people said that he was unable to find time to do it. Many people were expecting that the document is in front of President Mahama, he's going to sign it. But here, we're hearing that the bill has failed. It has to start again. That's the first time we're hearing that President Mahama is telling the clergy that the LGBT bill has failed. That's the view of some lawyers, though, that once the bill travels and it didn't get the accent of the president, it fails, and that it has to start all over again. Good evening, Mr. President. So here's Sam George on what he said much earlier, a year or so ago, referencing how he would relate to President Mahama's conduct if that conduct suggests that the bill will not be passed. This is Sam George.
Lastly, on the LGBT issues, if you get a nod, how far would you hope to push it? The president, your candidate, when he was interviewed on the BBC, he said he would now look into what is in that bill.
You know, that's a misconception that's been put out. And I listened to that full BBC interview. President Mahama has been clear that he will sign that bill, and he has no option than to sign that bill. President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill. And he himself has said that to the clergy, that as a Christian, as a member of the Assemblies of God Church, he will sign that bill. What the president said to the BBC was in response to why President Akufo-Addo has not signed the bill. And he said to them, look, what you, President Akufo-Addo, should have done, instead of rejecting service of the bill, was to have received the bill, stated what his displeasure is with the bill, which is what the Constitution says. The Constitution in Article 1067, President Mahama, in his response to the BBC, was referring to the Constitution of Ghana. Article 1067 says that when he gets to the president, he must within 14 days indicate whether he would sign or not sign. If he chooses not to sign, he then has to bring it back to Parliament and then state in the memo to Parliament the reasons why he's refusing to sign and add the recommendations to remedy those challenges he sees. Otherwise, within the 14 days, he can refer it within 30 days. He can refer it to the Council of State, who have 30 days to give him advice. That's what President Mahama was saying in that BBC interview. He was not saying that he now has to read the bill. President Mahama has read the bill. It's because he's read the bill that he told the clergy that when he becomes president, he will sign the bill, because President Mahama has no problem with anything in the bill. That explanation he was given was basically what the president should have done as a lawyer in line with our constitution, because the president's decision not to have service of the bill on him is unconstitutional and shows you how reckless and irresponsible Akufo-Addo is as a president.
Way back. Now, Idrisu Haruna, the former leader of the NDC in Parliament, also has something to say about it. Now, his is a bit more current. He's speaking recently since President Mahama became president. Now, his view of the matter, according to what he says, suggests that he was thinking that the bill hasn't failed, that the bill is before the president and the new president can sign.